Hello, I am Commissioner Emma I. Darnell. Welcome to Mighty Five Conversations. Conversations is a monthly information and conversation and communication program focusing on the sustainable community, economically strong, environmentally safe, with liberty and justice for all. The topic for today's conversation is hunger in Fulton County. What's going on? Thank you for joining us. I will be back in a moment. Joining me in the conversation today is Dr. Joyce J. Dorsey, the CEO of the Fulton Atlanta Community Action Authority, FACA as we call it. Dr. Dorsey earned a bachelor's degree from Spelman College, a master's degree in social work from Atlanta University, and a doctoral degree in biblical studies from the University of North Carolina College of Theology. Welcome, Joyce.
Great to be here one more time.
It is great to have you here.
Yes.
And let me say thank you from the beginning, you and your staff and all of your supporters and your board for staying on the line.
That's our commitment, and we're glad to be here.
We appreciate it, and we appreciate our partnership with Fulton, with FACA.
There you go. Long words.
We appreciate it. And Joyce, today we want to talk about something that I think we need to get some information out on.
Okay.
We know that in Atlanta, our largest city, child poverty is number 5. It's always in the top 5 in the nation.
Yes, it is.
We know also that when you look at Fulton County, countywide, we have the highest poverty rate of any of the metro counties.
Yes,
you know, that's rapidly changing.
You're absolutely right. You've been studying.
17%. We also know that this hunger problem, 72% of the folks, that's one of the most recent statistics, who apply for food assistance at the agencies that the community food bank serves, they are below the federal poverty line.
Yes.
But it's been brought to my attention, Dr. Dorsey, that hunger involves a little bit more than just the poor.
Yes.
You and your staff are on the land.
Yes, we are.
You know, we have folks that doing the research and giving us the data as policymakers.
Yes.
But people want to hear from folks who are on the land.
Okay.
We have people on the land in the county, in our Health and Human Services Department. But those of you in the nonprofit sector, though, I see you as really the frontline troops. What are you seeing these days, Joyce, about the changing face of hunger?
Yes, it is changing.
It's changing, isn't it?
It's changing. We know that our seniors suffer when their retirement funds won't cover.
And that's
all of
affecting
the
these
aspects
boomers,
of
isn't
living.
it?
Yes, and now we've got the boomers who are going to surge. I mean, we're going to bust the doors open.
They're calling it the silver tsunami.
Oh,
that
my
we can't
goodness.
expect
You
that.
got your head of me on that one.
No, you told me about it when you were here the last time.
Okay, it is like a tsunami, too.
And it was validated by the census, Joyce.
Yes.
You said when you were here the last time,
Okay,
2 years
keep
ago,
me refreshed.
that 45 to 64
Yes.
seniors were a different kind of seniors
That's
in
right.
terms of their economic security.
That's right.
They didn't plan for retirement, did they?
No, in fact, we're still not in good shape. And I'll tell you why. Even though we have retirement accounts, we're plundering those accounts due to the rise in cost of living.
Yes.
And we are forestalling the actual date of retirement. We're going to maximize up to 72 and even more if we can, because we can't afford to retire. Even with reverse mortgages, we can't afford to retire because our children are unemployed. And they won't go.
And they're at home.
They can't go.
Yeah.
They go and come back if they do.
And stay.
Yeah, and I'm trying to help mine stay.
Yes.
So we have a challenge on our hand in America. And with this deficit, the unemployment crisis, the underemployment crisis, and certainly the hopelessness that young folk who are getting out of college feel because they can't find that job that the statistics pointed them to.
I was very interested to find out about that in this recent study, Hunger in America, that is published by the Feed America group.
Yes.
When you mention students, in talking about who is hungry,
Yes.
It seems as if students make up a significant number, a surprising number.
A surprising and
number of
significant
folks
too. Yes.
who really have food stamps.
They are eligible for food stamps, and many of them are eligible for Medicaid because they're on their own. And they have diseases like diabetes and things that qualify you for Medicaid. So they are already constituting the poor in that they are depending on Pell Grants and other means of supporting their educational pursuits.
I was also surprised to learn that some of the folks who are coming to your agency for assistance actually have relatives who are serving in the military.
Yes. Now that's a shame.
Now
That's a shame.
A disgrace.
Yes.
So many of the people in the neighborhoods where you serve, many of those young men and women enlisted in order to improve their...
And they're now homeless.
They are homeless and hungry.
And hungry. Well, that just goes hand in hand. In fact, I will get out of my car to stop, especially a young man that's homeless, and say, well, tell me what's going on. Why are you here?
That's the only way you know. You have to ask them.
Well, I got addicted while I was in the service. I came out and I did drug rehab, but it didn't last long enough. These are just vignettes that inform me as to what is really going on behind the scene. Then, of course, the families sometimes not able to support them and the stress that they bring, which is now labeled post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Is it also true, Dr. Dorsey, that you are seeing people, families of military who are now serving?
Yes.
They receive the check, I guess,
and it's
but
just
apparently
pitiful looking at the cost
it's not
of
meeting the needs.
No.
So you can have your husband or your wife in the military
Yes.
and still meet the federal poverty
Yes, Commissioner.
guidelines.
Yes, ma'am. It is just the way it has been. Now, remember, back after World War II, it was prestigious to come out of the military. You could buy a home because you had a special loan.
And they did.
You could go to school because you had a special loan.
Yes.
But these things are not granted unto people who are discharged as readily as they used to be.
So the benefits of military service
They're shrinking.
are shrinking.
Yes.
And we find them at the agencies that are served
Right.
by the food bank.
Right. You sure do. And then you also, with respect to the Veterans Administration, we know much about it now.
Yeah.
They're not getting sufficient care. And if you're homeless and not looking so good, you may not be well received in anybody's emergency room. You know that.
If
It's
you're
just the way it is.
uninsured,
Yes.
you will wait at grade 7 hours.
Yes, you will. And you'll wait there a few days and possibly weeks at the VA,
If ever.
if ever.
You might die
That's right.
before they call you
That's right.
to the VA.
Yes.
Well, now, Joyce, what about the little children?
Well, these are the mamas with babies, and sometimes the fathers. We have a higher percentage of men raising their children. But child
That's
care,
interesting.
yes,
That's
the
information
cost of
we
child
need to
care
have.
is so high.
Yeah.
The cost of food is so high.
I see them. I see the fathers passing my
Yes,
door every morning taking their children to school.
yes, you do.
Not
and I
every
see it
now
all-
and then.
No, it's quite a bit.
By at least 50%.
Yes,
are fathers.
Yes.
And they don't have sufficient income.
That's very tough. Very tough. Now add to that maybe mom or dad with some sort of a criminal background, even if it's a misdemeanor, not being able to get a job to support that family well.
That's the other thing that shocked me about this national report. 54% of the people who use community food bank services, they had a job last year.
Yes. Yes, but
they're
layoffs,
unemployed.
Cutbacks.
And they're looking for work,
hours.
but they haven't found anything.
Sure. These are the things that affect hunger. And
so they're hungry.
Of course. And if you are living in your place, the cost to pay the rent, the utilities, and the grocery, whichever kind it is usually not sufficient.
We're going to come back to that, Joyce.
Yes.
And put some face on this hunger.
Okay.
Other than numbers.
Okay. It's a frightening thing.
We'll be right back in a moment.
Thank you.
So the face of hunger, Joyce, is not exactly just poor folks standing in a line.
No, it's not. It's me and you, too.
It's me
it's people
and
who work.
you. Tell me about that food insecurity business. You can have a little food, but
yes,
you're not quite. You know, you can get some food once a day at our senior centers.
Yes, you can.
But you're still not quite out of the woods.
No.
They tell me that food insecurity means you might have some, but you don't have access.
You've got to make it stretch
to
when
enough
you do
food
have some.
for you to live just
That's right.
A healthy
and making
life.
it stretch means that you don't go to bed on a full stomach. Now add to that grandmothers raising grandchildren on a fixed income.
That's widespread.
Yes, and when grandmothers raise their grandchildren, many times they will forfeit what the parent would normally get once that parent is eligible for food stamps or other subsidies.
What do you mean by that, George?
Well, usually the backdrop is that the parent is not able, for various reasons, even if it is their own personal responsibility issues. And the grandparent may not want to take that check because it's best to let the parent stay there. I'll take care of the children. Mm-hmm. But we're still talking about a fixed income that doesn't sufficiently really provide for the grandparent. So the grandparent will go hungry in order to make sure that the children are fed.
Our own survey confirms what you just said.
Okay.
We had the Kennesaw University folks to do a survey of seniors 2 years ago.
My goodness.
And many folks, even in the organization, were shocked to learn this was self-survey.
Yes.
Self-survey, 10% of about 1,000 seniors that were surveyed said they choose between food and medicine on a regular basis.
All the time. They alter their own prescription. That is, you may need to take 1 tablet per day.
I was shocked to find out the number that split their pill.
Yes. Or you may have a relative in the household that needs your pain medicine. You're in pain, and our bones are beginning to hurt a little bit, Sister Commissioner. But if we were them, we would probably share some of that medication because that person is not eligible for the care. So we have done workshops with seniors and with young people on the danger of this practice. But the need sometimes overwhelms the reasoning behind why people do what they do.
And then you have a cultural thing, too. Seniors don't like to see their grandchildren hungry.
No, they don't.
They don't like that.
No, they will go hungry. We will go
They
hungry.
will tell you they are not hungry.
Yes. Yes.
But they are.
Yes. Well, so these are things like my father and your father would say, making a way out of no way.
They know how to do that.
They know how to do that.
At least the previous generation, our parents' generation, they knew how. What about these boomers? They don't quite know how to do that dollar
Well, you know, we are the
You
ones
had
who
big checks,
experienced,
didn't you?
the cultural shift. That is, our parents let us off the hook with a certain bit of responsibility or awareness of
We didn't
the
have to do
after
that, did
effects
we?
of our decisions.
Yeah, tuition was paid.
Tuition was paid, and allowances were given, and cars were given to us unrewarded. So we are passing that
I
down,
see.
and our children are becoming more irresponsible because they don't understand how to reap what you sow. They really don't understand that. Cause and effect. We haven't taught that because we've been busy chasing the American dream, and it's beginning to be nightmarish.
Tell us about the American dream, which basically says that if you work hard, play
You are
by the
rewarded.
rules,
Yes.
everything will be all right.
Yes. Well, that's
What's
eroding.
happened to that dream?
It's eroding, and it's eroding because there may have been some people getting a little bit more for their work than what we would consider deserved.
Does that tie into that income inequality
You
issue?
bet it does. I think you're hitting the
Do
nail
you
on
know
the head.
Atlanta was ranked #1 in the nation
Yes.
in the current issue of a national magazine?
Yes.
It ranked #1.
Yes. And I believe that I forgot to turn off my cell phone, but it's a happy tune, and I would like to disconnect it just to make sure that nobody.
Thank you, Joyce.
Thank you so much. But we will discontinue that interruption. But I do want to tell you that we do not see the connection between income inequality. We do not see that.
I was
We
shocked.
feel it, but we don't see it.
We are #1 in the nation,
Yes, we are.
according to a national magazine, at least Atlanta
Yes.
is.
Yes.
And in fact, we're talking about hunger here, and the ARC reported recently that Fulton County has the highest per capita income of any of the metro counties.
Well, it makes
Average.
no reasonable sense.
How has that happened, Joyce? Is that inequality?
We are a financial center, and we attract people from upper income statuses. And as you may notice, and I think your statistics will reveal this, there is a dispersion of people who were once middle income into the outlying counties. So then the
And the poor also.
density of the working class is diminishing. And we see that a lot of people who are from other places are beginning to take advantage of foreclosed homes and short sales that make it easy to acquire homes that once were in the African American community and even the Caucasian community like Cabbagetown.
I see.
And so we see these neighborhoods changing. We see a belt line, and I think it's beautiful, but it's attracting people who love that type of an atmosphere. And the homes and lofts that are being built around these areas are attracting young urban professionals who are connoted as Caucasians and, of course, the black urban professionals. And so these people are displacing a lot of the folk who normally lived in these neighborhoods and once thrived.
How does that relate to this concept about the suburbanization of poverty?
Well, we know that once affluent outskirts areas are now becoming depressed zones.
You
Only
all
a
see
few
that
will remain.
because y'all look countywide.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And I don't mind telling you that because we're in Fulton County. North Fulton has a lot of needs that people will not admit to. We're talking about the city governments that have come up
now
over
we have
in
that
these
data.
areas.
The
South
charitable
Fulton,
organizations,
yes.
they let us know.
Yes.
North Fulton Charities,
It's grown. It's grown. It has
they let
grown.
us know that
Yes.
they are overrun
Yes.
with folks who are hungry and who need.
Yes.
And some of the areas that are new areas.
Yes.
You know, where the poor have not in the past.
Right. Even been permitted to live.
And now they're
They're
being
outpriced.
overrun
Yes.
with social services.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. It's a surprise.
So it seems to me, Dr. Dorsey, that, you know, our situation is being affected by many social and economic factors that affect the nation, they're affecting us as well. In other words, this recovery is really not impacting a lot of folks, is it?
Well, it's not, and it may eventually. But in the meantime, we have a lot of problems on our hands that we have few resources to address.
We collaborate with FACA and
Yes.
other agencies like yours, the government does,
Yes.
to help us
Yes.
respond. I would be interested, Dr. Dorsey, in your recommendations in terms of some of the policy areas we need to look at, whether it's county, state, or federal, because it takes us working together. Nonprofits can't do it alone, and government certainly cannot do it without nonprofits.
Well, I think people like you, people of influence, need to call people like me together. Because if we don't get on one page
And get a first-hand.
Yes, it's okay to have your budget
Having studies
and I have my
and all
budget,
that,
but
yeah.
let's share
We got
the
to
way
leverage,
we
haven't
will
we? Yes.
serve these people.
Well, that's the concept that we have.
Yes.
Our concept is that the grant that we give to Community Food Bank, that we give to FACA, doesn't begin to meet the needs.
No, it's
You know,
and it's
it doesn't
almost
begin
impossible
to
without
meet the
us being
needs.
inventive.
We have to, our funds can only leverage.
That's right.
And even then, I think we probably have to go a little deeper. I heard you say earlier in our conversation, Dr. Dorsey, that we've got to take another approach.
We had better.
It
We
can't
had
just
better.
be what we've been doing for the last 20 years.
No.
We give Community Food Bank $1, we give FACA $1, and say we have done it.
Well, I
for
think the
hunger.
president is trying to cause performance, and I'm not sure how well this will be done. But he's looking at the top performing nonprofits and government agencies. Now, what that will do, I am not sure, because it has not been evidence-based yet.
This is the direction, it seems to me, Dr. Dorsey, that the federal government is going in all of these areas.
Yes.
Grady is under the same direction.
Yes.
They've got to show performance.
Right.
Same thing is true in housing. The same thing is
Yes.
true, I hear you saying, in this important area. They're telling me we've run out of time, Dr.
Yes,
Dorsey,
yes.
but what I hear you saying is that this collaboration we have needs a little attention.
We had better regard the outcome.
It's not
of
like
our
it was
efforts.
in 1975.
No.
It's not like it was in the 1980s. We better take this data and look
Yes.
at it, confer with folks who are on the line, and see how can we best,
Right.
pool our resources
I'm
to
with
get it
you.
done.
I'm with you when
We
you're ready
thank
to
you so
pull us
much,
all
Joyce.
together.
We're going to continue
You're doing
this
a good job
partnership,
letting
right?
the cat out of the bag.
Well, we want the public to know
Yes.
Fulton County is a very peculiar community.
Yes.
Uh,
But you love your people?
Fulton County is a county where people are humane. They
Yes.
don't like to see a lot of people hungry
That's right.
and homeless. So
Well, I'm
together,
glad to be a part of things.
we appreciate it so much, Joyce, because you're representing not only FACA, but all the nonprofits without whom we couldn't begin to get it done.
Yes, indeed.
Thanks so much,
Thanks
Joyce.
for having me.
I'll be back in a moment with closing thoughts. A national report on hunger in America has disclosed that the elimination of hunger in this community will require more than Thanksgiving baskets. Addressing hunger in Fulton County will require a thorough understanding of the problem itself. Although 72% of those receiving food assistance have incomes below the federal poverty line, 20% of households receiving food assistance have a member who has served in the U.S. military. 54% were unemployed last year and are looking for work. 1 in 10 adults is a student. 1 in 4 households has a family member who is now serving in the military. What does hunger look like in Fulton County? It looks like you, me, the neighbor next door, and the neighbor around the block. The aggressive collaboration between government and the nonprofit sector and the private sector to eradicate hunger in this community will continue. That's all the time we have for today's conversation. Until next time, stay strong. To learn more about today's conversation, contact me at 404-612-8222. That's 404-612-8222. You can also email me at emma.darnell@fultoncountyga.gov. Visit us online at emmadarnell.com or connect with us on Facebook or Twitter.